Hello, Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Eden Zero, chapters 70 through 72. As you probably noticed, I did not post a video last week. That was because I was very, very busy, and by the time I got around to doing Eden Zero and Fairy Tail and Heroes, it was already Sunday. So I was like, I'll just wait until the next chapter comes out. So yeah, that's where we are. So because there were two chapters last week, we're doing 3 chapters in one video right now. Because I'm not feeling the best right now, I got my water bottle here in case I need it. I might not, who knows. So yeah, let's just jump right on in. When we last left our heroes, they had taken a break after the Battle of Sunjewel. Homura found out more about her duties as a Shining Star. We were introduced to Etherion in code 3713, which is, of course, Ellie's number from Bravemaster. And then Rebecca had some kind of future vision dream thing. And then the Belial Goer showed up while Rebecca was dreaming, and Shiki and Homura and I think Wise all went to crash it. So, that's where we are now. Let's jump right on into Chapter 70, where we open with Rebecca getting dressed and ready for battle. I don't believe this! I mean, see, she has her, like, little magic, hair-tying thing. Her magic shoe fastening, which, again, I much like my complaints with Sarada's outfits in the Boruto manga, I don't think heels are good for battle. Like, any women in the chat who regularly wear heels or feel free to correct me, but I'm pretty sure heels don't make great battle wear. Anyway, and I don't believe this. Who would leave their crewmate behind? Seriously. I can fight too, you know. Well, you were passed out in the training room. I mean, in the infirmary. And Moscow, he's still, like, bound up in that weird BDSM shtick that Ivory had going on with him last time. Chapter 70, Belial Goer. We have this nice color cover double spread. It's very reminiscent of that, like, early promo spread, except it has a more up-to-date version of the cast. We got Shiki doing his gravity punch, Homura, Hermit, Happy, Pino, Ivory, Wise, Moscow. A very suggestive picture of Rebecca here. Alright, I'm not entirely sure what exactly is up with her outfit, because that's not something we've ever seen her wear, if I recall correctly. And it's certainly not what she's wearing right now, because she's not wearing a skirt. I don't know, I'm probably overthinking this. Anyway, Giant Space Fortress Belial Goer. This is where Shiki and the gang were after last time. And Hermit is on the ship with them? No, she's back on the Eden Zero, and she's looking through some files. It looks like it used to be Sector 1 back on the planet Gilst, but they escaped during that last disaster. What do you mean the ship was a sector? Wise not really responding to that. Just notices something off in the distance. Hey, look at that. And Hermit on the radio. I mean, the ship itself was an entire city. They get tourists too, so if you come in through the guest dock, no one will suspect you. Okay. Alright. Whoa! A city inside a ship. I think we might have already known that, because when Spider came after the Digitalis arc, he entered, Drakken's base through, like, an alleyway, which would imply that it's a whole ship. Or at least a whole city on the ship, I mean. Which does raise another question, because Drakken is clearly in charge of the Belial Goer, and yet he's, like, working out of a back alley? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Anyway, a city inside a ship. That would make it difficult to identify intruders. Good news for us. And Hermit speaks to them. Be careful. The highest authority on that ship is Drakken Joe. He's called the Dark Alchemist, the biggest big shot in the Sakura cosmos. In the underworld, that is. I don't care who he is. I'll get him to answer why he's following our ship. Agreed. And hey, these earring comm devices won't be a problem, will they? No, they're made from lacrima. No one will overhear what we say through them. Was lacrima introduced in Eden Zero at some point. I don't know. And I don't even know how they work, and because they're clearly not storing magic, because there is no magic in Eden Zero. So I don't know what their deal is. Anyway, and Witch speaks to them next. And remember, your objective is simply to investigate. Please refrain from any actions that would draw attention. Right, that's gonna happen in a Hiro Mashima series. Roger that. We'll use the authority Valkyrie Homer has transferred to us to activate the Eden Zero's armament system. It's gone unused for a long time. It's going to take a while to boot it up and update the systems. So how did that work? Because now that Homer is Valkyrie, she apparently has authority over the armament system. Yet, how do they transfer that authority from the original Valkyrie to Homura? I don't know. Okay, time to explore! Yes, master! And Wise looks after him. Don't get so excited. I shall refrain from mentioning that I, too, am a little excited. And they go to the game Belial, a casino-looking place. Maybe it's more of an arcade place, because Shiki's at some, can-throwing game, it looks like. Homer is being hit on. Wise is gambling with some shady-looking dudes. And a mole guy who I think was in a Goofy movie? I'm not sure. We have a strip club, because it's Mashima. And, Shiki and Wise both get, really into it. And Homura and Pino just, point to the exit and kick them out. And then sometime later, they are, sitting on a staircase by a fountain. It's a pretty normal city, even if it is on the skeevy side. It is highly populated. I don't know about this. What's the matter, Master? If our ships start fighting each other, we can't just attack this place. Indeed, there are too many civilians here. And Wise looks at them. What are you chickening out for? Everyone here came from Gilst. And last I checked, the Gilst of this time is full of crooks. In other words, they're all bad guys. Who cares about them? That's not a good way to think about things, Wise. No, it doesn't matter if they're crooks or whatever. I won't take a life without a reason. You have a reason. They're going after our ship. That's just Drakken, not everyone in town. It's called guilt by association. Why should we worry about slime balls? You can't call them slime balls. You don't even know them. Everybody knows a criminal's a slime ball. Weren't you a criminal when we first met you, Wise? Weren't you working with Sibir? So that's kind of a pot calling the kettle black situation there. Both of you calm yourselves. Detecting a rise in heart rate and blood pressure. You! And someone looks over at them, and Wise, takes notice. You look and we see Wise, eyes widened, fear in his face. Is this gonna be a Sibir of the future? Wise? Chup. Sibir? Yeah, that is Sibir of 492. Oh shit. I just randomly brought up Sibir, and now he's back. But present day Sibir. You're that guy from Norma. Eep. What is it, my friends? Do you know him? Yeah, Pino is, of course, terrified of Sibir after everything Sibir did to her. Homura, I love the reminder that Homura has just never met Sibir. Apparently never even heard of Sibir. So she's just very, very, kind of chill about all this. I thought we got you arrested. Just, chup. What are you doing all the way out here? And wow, you got old. Who are you? And Wise, you're looking pretty young. I thought so. This is Sibir from 50 years in the future. I mean, the present day Sibir. He's lived out a different life than the Sibir you met on Norma. And Sibir is kind of confused to hear all this. I see. So Norma's on the do not travel list, because a chronophage came and ate its time. 50 whole years. And you're young Wise who left the planet after that? Chip! I'm surprised you survived... words. I'm surprised you survived another 50 years. And Pino is, hiding behind Homura. Why is that little one so terrified of me? Eek! You don't remember what you did to Pino 50 years ago? And Sibir just looks at him confused, and we have this flashback of Sibir, torturing Pino during the Norma arc. You! Stop it. This Sibir isn't part of that timeline. He's never met you or Pino. Remember what the old me said? When a chronophage eats a planet's time, nothing anyone does can affect its future. What did I do to that little bot? And I forget, wasn't the implication that Pino was created by old Wise, or is she somehow tied to Eden? It's one of those two, and I know she was inserted into the timeline through some way, which would be why old Wise or old Sibir never interacted with Pino in any way. I'm sorry. I got into a lot of mischief in my younger days. I was constantly making trouble for everybody. Chup. I know, okay? You don't have to lecture me. Could the bird talk back on Norma? I don't remember that being a thing. He converses with a bird? Oh no, that's Sibir saying, I know, okay, you don't have to lecture me. That makes more sense. Pino is still, shaking from behind. Shivering, shaking, crying. And Sibir turns to her. I must have put you through something pretty horrible. I know saying I'm sorry won't make it better, but let me do it anyway. And Pino, tries to give him a chance. No, it's alright. You're apparently a different person after all. The great and terrible Sibir is really mellowed out. Stop it. For me, that was 50 years ago. A lot has happened since then. So what are you doing all the way out here anyway? Oh, whoops. I was doing my errands. I work at a bar now, right over there. We got a lot to catch up on, or maybe you gotta catch up. There's some weird translations that's going on there. We got a lot of to catch up on, maybe you gotta catch up. Ha ha ha. I think it should be we got a lot to catch up on, or maybe you gotta catch up. Anyway, drop in if you ever feel like it. Chup. I also have not quite caught attention to this yet. But I love how old the bird looks. In a human way. Anyway, Sibir waves goodbye as he goes back to the bar. People can really change. And Wise looks after Sibir confused. Was he indeed a bad person? And Pino is still shaking. And Wise squats down to look at Pino. You've only ever seen his vicious side, so I can't blame you for being scared. But he could also be a real stand-up guy with integrity. That doesn't sound like the Sibir we met. Believe it or not, he's the guy who saved me all those years ago. There's definitely some more to Wise's backstory that we have not been told yet, right? Because I don't remember that in the Norma arc. But again, it's been a year plus since then, so maybe I just forgot. Anyway, Wise sighs. Well, it's about time we gather more intel. And right then, this alarm sound rings all through the Belial Goer. Emergency ship-wide broadcast. And we see a cube form into the video screen, and on it is Drakken's face. Did you think I wouldn't find you? You little rats from Eden Zero. And all three of them are oh fuck, we're already caught. And they all look up at the cubes. Running facial recognition. It's Drakken Joe. That's him. Not a bad idea, sneaking in through the guest dock. But we do checks on every ship that lands there. Impossible! I hacked their surveillance system! And right then, both Witch and Hermit are knocked back. There's this rattling sound. It looks like there's something spewing smoke, maybe? What happened? And Rebecca, who has not left yet, runs back into the room where the two of them are. No, part of the Eden Zero shield has been damaged. How? What's going on? Hermit! Something's wrong with our connection. And Drakken starts talking again. I know you're here. Who's he talking about? Dunno. There's still people here stupid enough to defy Drakken? So I'll just take this opportunity to nab your ship. And Sibir is also watching the broadcast. And we see the fear in Shiki's eyes. Let us hurry back. And from which we get intruders on the Eden Zero? I'm picking up unidentified life readings in Corridor 7. How do you like Mr. Joe's alchemy? He can change ether shields into gas, and a ship's metal hull into scrap paper. Well, here we are, gunmen. What do we do about the crew? Kill them all. Don't break anything that looks valuable, Maria. This is not good. And we see it's the three main members of Drakken's crew, Maria, the skull guy, and the kind of scarf-wearing buff dude. And Witch just kind of frowns at the realization that there are enemies on board the Eden Zero. And let's go straight to 71. So we have a cover picture of Shiki as like a wartime pilot, like airplane pilot, kind of mid-century looking. And Kino's like at the controls. Chapter 71, The Steel Sorceress. We have 3 intruders. Each one possesses high battle potential. This is kind of right where we left off. Which is literally looking at the screen that ended the last chapter. Lady Homura. Permission to unlock battle dress. Lady Homura, and back on Homura's side, we're getting this kind of static going in. Which, I cannot quite hear you. Battle dress? The 4 Shining Stars battle outfits. You can fight her, me? A little. We could really use Valkyrie for something like this. And Sister comes in. This is no time for whining. Which, who cares? Just use the battle dress. But, what's going on? Let us in! We didn't do nothing wrong. The dock's been locked down. So we see they've locked the guest dock, so the gang can't get out. What do we do, Master? We force our way through. We have to get back to the Eden Zero. Just then, Drakken continues speaking. I wouldn't make any trouble if I were you. The lives of the Eden Zero crew depend on you, rats. I've taken them hostage. And I don't have to tell you what will happen if you make a scene. The 3 of them look up at Drakken, angry and nervous. And we cut back to the Eden Zero. Hostage? I thought we were allowed to kill them. We are. We cut any contact between the ship and the rats. They don't know what's happening on board. Just then, these, turrets come in from the ceiling. Gun turrets, eh? Seth? And Seth is the skeleton gunman, and he pulls out his pistols and just shoots the turrets down immediately. And the remains, fall to the floor. Still as fast as ever. Give me a moving target sometime, huh? Think a few automatic rifles can stop us? And just then, these, cables come out and bind the buff guy, whose name I still don't know, by his right arm. And he just pulls it apart. Doesn't even stop him. Diego is powerful enough to tear your machines to shreds. So Diego, Maria, and Seth are their names. I see. And which comes out of an opening door. Then our minimum level of defense does not deter you. So the crew makes an appearance, eh? Seth. And Seth tries to shoot at Witch, but she gets this, shield up that blocks it. And just kind of, the bullet is still just, on the shield, not moving. Damage to our ship. Illegal entry. Jamming our communication. I cannot overlook your offenses any longer. An ether shield. Well, well. That is one smoking hot android. By the authority vested in me as Witch, Shields of Edens, I will remove the intruders. Removing ether limiter. Battle dress. Requip. It's not a Majima manga without reusing terminology. And I already know what next chapter's title is, so we'll be bringing that up when we get there. Will Witch really be able to handle them all by herself? She'll at least buy us time. Buy us time? Hermie, I'm going to back her up. And Sister turns to her. No, just stay calm. But, Herman, you hurry and get back in contact. And Maria's kind of laughing at Witch. Wait, she wants to fight us? Hilarious. And Witch is transformed into her battle dress. Assault Witch. Online. And Diego, I think, materializes this kind of bazooka. I don't know where he was holding it. So I think he just kind of forms it. I would almost say he's the Steel Sorceress, but there's that Sorceress part of the Sorceress. Because I'm assuming the gun's made of steel. So if it was the Steel Sorcerer, I'd be like, oh, he must be the Steel Sorcerer. But he's not the Sorceress. Anyway, he points the gun at Witch. And Witch, holds up an arm to cover her face. And he shoots. It's like an ether kind of beam. And Witch just kind of does this kind of motion with her hand, and the beam, goes off to the side. What did you do? Oh, she also froze the gun. Ice ether. My gun's frozen solid. Oh, and Maria kind of smiles. Witch. I get it. And she, her legs extend a lot. Her right leg extends up to kick the ceiling. I request you refrain from further damaging our ship. A demon king, a witch, what next? Do you have a princess on board? And Moscow, the love of my life, so starts blushing, and Sister snaps at him, "Not you! Don't you think it for a nanosecond! That power Witch is using, what is it? Magic. Magic? I mean, technically it's ether, but Witch uses ether like it's magic. I wonder what that will mean for Heroes. Because in Heroes, of course, the gang's been kind of shocked at the existence of Fairy Tail's magic. But especially Rebecca, if Heroes is set in the Eden Zeroverse sometime post-Belial Goer, then they know, then their perception of magic would be more closely tied to ether, which I feel like it isn't right now in Heroes. But that's a story for the Heroes video coming shortly after this one. Anyway, get out of our way! And Maria brings her foot down to strike at Witch, but she ducks out of the way. Air ether. And she, uses an air blast to start flying. Her ether element changed? And she's using some, quick, dash tricks with the air to avoid, Maria's very, gum fruit kind of powers. And then she switches to lightning, and the lightning kind of goes after Maria. What? And it gets her in the leg. Is this electricity? And they are all caught by it, which does confirm that Maria does not have rubber powers, because it does seem to affect her, as well as Seth and Diego. And yeah, Witch brings down the lightning ether on her 3 opponents. I can't! How can she? She changes her element at will, and she's earned herself the nickname, the Steel Sorceress. So yeah, the Steel Sorceress is Witch. And she kicks ass. And the 3 of them seem to be down for the count already. I was not expecting that. Wow! She beat all 3 of them. The people on this ship are family to me. If anyone or anything threatens them. And she stomps down on Maria's throat. I will show them no mercy. Is that the first shot we got of Witch's eyes? Because I think her eyes have always been obscured by her visor. Right there, we can see her left eye peeking through the visor. Stop right there, Witch. And Ivory, dashes in. They're mine now. It's torture time. Comms are back online. Shiki, can you hear me? Don't worry. We took care of the enemy up here. And Shiki hears that. Awesome. They did it. But how? Perhaps Moscow's hidden abilities? I wish. I really want to see Moscow's hidden abilities. There's no time to explain. Can you find a way back? We already know they're hostile. We can get the prisoners to tell us why. But if you stay there, it can make things worse. No, I'll settle this. They attacked my home, and that won't stand. And Herman just kind of sighs. And Drakken frowns and then turns to a slight smile. Not bad. We're gonna run into some turbulence. If I let these guys out, that is. Drakken Special Forces. The Element 4. Of course, the return of the Element 4. And we see there's this, really big guy with what looks like either dragon scales or, shards of rock for his arms, who I'm guessing is the Earth Element 4. He also has this kind of, it looks like he has, a paper bag over his face. But it seems to, merge into his torso, which I hope is a sign that Eden Zero is, finally really tapping into the presence, it's sci-fi genre, and just giving us some cool alien designs. Because the only aliens that really stick out to me is Eliga on Gilst, who just seems to kind of be a retread of the Frog Council Assistant design from Fairy Tail. But this buff dragon Earth-looking dude, that's a cool alien design. I want to see what he can do. We've also got the one-eyed sniper-looking guy, who I'm going to say he's Air. It's my guess. We got this guy who I assume has red hair, but is not in color, so who can say, with the key on his shirt and the long sleeves. I'm guessing he's Fire. And then the one girl, I'm assuming is Water. But that's just a guess. I really can only... My only guess I'm confident in is the big Earth dude. The other 3, I don't know. I don't even know if they're going with the same Earth, Air, Fire, Water that Mashima did with Phantom Lord. I don't know. we shall see going into Chapter 72, which is titled, as I kind of alluded to earlier in the video, The Element 4. We have, our cover picture is Rebecca in this kind of cat-made outfit, and Happy in a cute little tuxedo, as he's like trying to tie his tie. It's very cute. Chapter 72, The Element 4. Who I'm going to assume are not going to go down as fast as Diego, Seth, and Maria, or else this would be a really short arc. And given that Drakken is as close to a main villain as we have so far, I don't think that's going to be the case. Anyway, there were 3 intruders, which took care of all of them. Awesome! The sorceress can actually fight? Why is it so shocked by that? She's in the same league as my mentor. It is only natural. Oh, magic? Does she use magic? I love that they were carrying over the hero's depiction of Pino as just so enthralled by the concept of magic. It's really cute. 2 of them self-destructed. They were androids. We have the 3rd in custody. Sister will question her. So Seth and Diego are just dead. Alright. Maria's still alive. And Sister's questioning, I'm sure, will be very, you know. But there's one other problem. The edges, and we see the hole that the 3 of them left in the ship. And Rebecca's down there in a spacesuit. The edges of the hole are fluttering around like paper. How did they do that to it? The Eden Zero's armor is made of a special material called guarnanium. It would take more than an average weapon to even scratch it. We did kind of get a hint of that earlier in the chapter, when the 3 of them or during chapter 70, I think it was, when the 3 intruders referred to it as Drakken's alchemy, and we know Drakken's nickname is the Dark Alchemist, so it's probably something related to there. I also do really love the distinction that the androids are not wearing spacesuits. I think that's a fairly obvious thing, but like it's just kind of cool. It's a nice attention to detail. Also, where is Connor in all this? Oh, there he is. He's literally on the next page. I keep doing that. They did it with a beam cannon mounted on their ship, and Connor has come out of their ship. Mr. Connor, you're still here? Captain Connor, if you please. I love Happy's, like, kind of shocked that Connor is still here. Looks like this beam cannon has ether gear capabilities. In other words, somebody gave this ship ether gear powers. An ether gear that can turn a ship's armor into paper? It did more than that. They even broke through Eden Zero's shields. Just what power is this? You know what Drakken's nickname is. You can probably figure it out. My guess is that this power is Drakken Joe's, so be careful. Thanks, Hermit. Someone figures it out. And then the radio kind of clicks off. It turns armor into paper? And we see Pino starts kind of smiling, and then she kind of like flutters as this kind of papery, cheap design. I'm not sure if that's meant to be Drakken, or if it's meant to be like, Pino's thoughts about all this. Oh no, it's Shiki imagining what that would do to Pino. He's super shocked at that. What's the matter, Master? At any rate, we've got just one job. Indeed. We bring Drakken Joe down for trying to take our ship. Then the alarm comes on again, the cubes reappear. Citizens of Belial Goer, I have good news for you. I'm about to show you what our intruders look like. Oh, alright. So I'm making a lot of One Piece comparisons in this video, and that's because, as I've said over the past, like, year and a half now, I've been reading One Piece, and I'm currently at the birdcage in Dressrosa. So I'm sure you can imagine what's going on in my mind with comparisons right now, if you've read Dressrosa. And yeah, we have the pictures of Pino, Homura, Shiki, and Wise. What? I want them alive. Whoever brings them to me will have their debts erased. For real? No more debt? Debt forgiveness? Yes! I love the kind of, like, realness of that. Their motivation is not even money, it's just, like, losing all their debts. Do everything you can to find them. And there's a kind of murmuring of all the people around, the trio. Wait, over there! It's them! There they are! And there's this old guy who has a distinctive enough design, and he's kind of... This old guy on the left of the middle panel of page 8 of chapter 72 looks vaguely familiar somehow. I don't know how. What do we do, Master? Please don't tell me. And Wise just yells out, for now we scram. We must hasten to a secluded location. And everyone's kind of laughing. We see Warren from Fairy Tail, by the way. And they're all smiley, and they immediately turn angry. There they are! Zero debt! Beat them up and take them in! Is everyone on this ship in debt? And Sibir is, like, not going after them, even though he very clearly knows who they are. Wise. So I definitely reckon, as I said during Chapter 70, whatever, like, good past Wise and Sibir shared, with how much Sibir is coming up, even more than just that cameo, that, like, one appearance in Chapter 70, I think Sibir is definitely going to play a part in the events of this chapter. I don't know how exactly, he's kind of old, so we can't exactly bust in and save the day, unless the end of the Norma arc, as I recall, featured him in a giant mech. What if he still has the mech? Oh, and like we know Mashima loves to make early series villains into allies to heroes. So I imagine it's going to happen with Sibir, because it hasn't happened at all in Eden Zero so far. And I don't remember when exactly Chapter 72 was in Fairy Tail, because it might have just not started happening yet. Because I think Gajeel was the first to do that in Fairy Tail. Gajeel and Juvia. Anyway, getting distracted. Moving on. At this kind of bank-looking place, I guess it's the, like, headquarters for Drakken. Mr. CEO. Sorry, I lied about there not being any alien designs besides the Liga. I forgot about his assistant. It still is kind of... It's still a very, like, kind of Mashima-y stock design. Kind of reminds me of the Purple Horse thing in both Digitalis and I think in Brave Master, as I recall. As well as a little bit of Griffin Kato from Brave Master. Anyway, it's a very rambly video, half an hour in. Mr. CEO, if you are mobilizing the Element 4, then do you really need to use the citizenry? Get off my back. I'm just having some fun. At the interest rates I charge, I have to throw him a bone now and then. And the assistant sighs, they won't stand a chance anyway. Not as long as I have the Element 4. Drakken actually shows a really good, at least intelligent, if not good style of evil leadership. You know, he's like a total monster of like a loan shark. But like, in order to stop, because the entire city is in his debt, in order to stop the city from rising up, he has to like every now and then be like, oh yeah, you can get debt forgiveness if you do this for me. And if it works, you know, that's good for them. Anyway, all matter is formed from the 4 elements: fire, water, wind, and earth. That is the foundation and the truth of alchemy. So yeah, the element 4 are the same 4 elements of Fairy Tail. They are a part of me. So let's show them what we can do. Outside the main city, there's this river, kind of like a more naturey looking place, where the gang has gotten away from their pursuers. We lost him somehow, but now the entire populace can recognize us. Wise, full of confidence, and carrying on that same kind of, that same kind of vein he had in Chapter 70, we just have to beat the daylights out of every single one of them. We couldn't do that. Fine then. I'll just have to use this. And he pulls out his, like, kind of cell phone-y thing, a disguise app I developed. Of course, I just kind of redirected the Eden Zero dress factory tech. You developed it. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh, what horny bullshit is he about to give Homura? You know he will. He has the power. Oh, and he turned into his Digitalis outfit. What do you think? Oh, here, I'll do you guys too. And Shiki is like this old school delinquent with a pompadour. Pino's in her human garb, which is super nice, and I imagine that'll end up being a more recurring thing. As you will recall, after Digitalis, we found out that Pino really wants to be human, and now she kind of can with the Dress Factory app. I'm human! Mine seems half-baked. Why would you dress me like this? You expect me to stride about town in this? And yeah, it's this kind of like stereotypical like Arabian belly dancer, to not dip too far into racial cliches that I'm not really equipped to elaborate on. There were dancers at the clubs. I don't think you'd seem out of place. But if you do not change my face, it defeats the purpose. Maybe you're right. I will choose my own disguise. And she thankfully does not just ride around in that very Rebecca from One Piece, to go back on Dressrosa outfit. And these accoutrements, no one will suspect it is I. She's in this really like over the top like Victorian gown. She's also a blonde now. Yeah, but they'll all sure stare. Noble women are awesome. And Pino, the adorable, kind of like goes like looks at her reflection in the mirror and sees the humanness of it. Though the fact that she can see with her head does raise a question. Because my assumption was these were all disguises. You know, I reckon that, Shiki's body hasn't changed too much. Wise's definitely has, but I reckon that Fem-Wise is roughly the same height as regular Wise, so like maybe the boobs are fake. The boobs are like holograms or whatever. But like, that doesn't really affect his senses, I guess. Maybe he can like, I don't know, I'm thinking way too deeply about holographic boobs right now. But Pino should not be tall enough to look at things with her human head. You know, she should be, if we look at where, should be, if she's standing up, like near her knees maybe. If she's sitting down like she is on page 13, maybe around breast height, I don't know. Again, I'm thinking way too deep into this, and I really shouldn't, because we're going into 40 minutes of this video very soon. I doubt we're going to finish by 40 minutes. Anyway, let's go, Pino. Coming! Go. Go where? Where else? To see Drakken. Our intel says he's a loan shark, right? So we'll go to him and pretend we need money. How much do you want? Enough to repair the ship you busted! And, like, Wise immediately jumps into arson. We have this chibi depiction of Fem-Wise and Drakken as Wise jumps into his arsenal form. Enough to repair the ship you busted, you dingbat! Like that. And Homer kind of like looks at him. Would it really be so simple? Wait, when are you coming, Pino? And Pino is so adorable, just like cannot stop looking in the river. Well, I'm a human now. I'm just so happy. The app only changes your appearance, and it doesn't last long. But look, and she like whirls around as a human, and Pino and Shiki goes over to I thought he like hugged her, but I actually can't tell. I can't see her arms. I can't see his arms. I mean, I'm so happy for you, Pino. He's like crying. Thank you. Stop crying. Hee. Now you've done it. You've shed tears in front of me. Oh, the water starts talking. Tears are weakness. And it's the key guy who's the water element for. I got that one wrong. And when a human cries in front of me, they will never stand back up again. A guy just came out of the water. Who are? And Shiki stops. And did Shiki just turn into water? He just like collapses into a puddle. Shiki! Master! You fiend! What have you done to Shiki? No disguise can hide the ether flow in your body. Master changed into water. How did that even happen? You just changed you just like triple Pino's height, alright? You can change appearances. I am from Drakken's Special Forces, the Element 4. The Spirit of Water, Laguna. And Homer and Wise both stare him down. And I will make you all cry. And that is the end of chapter 72. So, a lot happened in these 3 chapters, as you can expect from 3 chapters. Where to start? So, I'm kind of drawn to the similarities and distinctions between the topside society of Sunjewel and the society of Belial Goer. And we didn't really get an in-depth look at Belial's society like we did with Sunjewel before the plot started, so I can't quite make a lot of comparisons. But we see that the citizens of Belial Goer are also happy under Drakken's rule. They're not as happy as the topsiders were on Sunjewel, but like they're still, in debt and chomping at the bit to get out of debt. But they're more than, none of them considers, teaming up with the intruders to bring Drakken down. And maybe that's because they don't think that they can, because, he's Drakken. But it still kind of shows that they are fairly content under Drakken's rule. Then we have Sibir, which is a really interesting bit. I'm very curious to see. I really do enjoy the way Mashima is like, reminding us that there's a bit of this guy who is still the Sibir that affected that tortured Pino and Shiki hated so much. And that definitely, what I'm trying to get at is I love how each of the quartet's reactions to Sibir are very informed by their relationships both to Sibir himself and to their relationship with the chronophage. Wise immediately understands that this is the older Sibir, because he himself has an older version. So he's aware of the chronophage. They're all aware of the chronophage. He has been deeply impacted by the chronophage. He has been ripped out of time. And we don't often see that in Wise. So it's nice to kind of get that reminder that, his life was deeply impacted by the chronophage. We don't really see the deep impact of it, but we at least see a reminder that it's kind of on his mind. And Pino, we see that moment on page, I think it's 15 of chapter 70. Chapter 14, where, Pino tries to warm up to this version of Sibir who never tortured her. And she tries. She makes a valiant effort. But as Sibir leaves, Wise looks down at her and sees that she's still shaking. Because even if this is not the Sibir who tortured her, it was still Sibir who tortured her. And the Sibir 50 years ago, even this Sibir 50 years ago, would have tortured her. Which is important to remember, I think. And then we have the Steel Sorceress, which is really just 19 pages of witch kicking ass. Also is kind of shows like a 30 or 40 chapter fake out, as Diego, Maria, and Seth have been built up as Drakken's lieutenants, and two of them just kind of die. Maria is still alive, but she's been captured. Witch just completely wipes the floor with them, which kind of reveals why Mashima has stuck Witch on the ship so long. Because if she ever came down, there would be no drama. By making Witch stay on the ship, you still have drama. Which is nice, which is good. A series needs some kind of drama. But it works as a fake out. If it was just, the lieutenants are all gone and now it's just Drakken, it would feel kind of cheap. Like a lot of some fairy tale fights would end up feeling. But because they're immediately cycled out for the real threat, the Element 4, it kind of works. Unless the Element 4 ends up doing the same thing as the three commanders. But given that Witch is on the ship and the Element 4 aren't, we'll see. And then we have our final chapter. I'm kind of curious, just a little bit. I don't know if it means anything. Wise's go-to disguise is the girl he was on Digitalis. Maybe it just means he's really horny all the time. But honestly, he doesn't like when he was the girl on when he was Femwise on Digitalis, he was, I'm gonna look at my boobs, I'm gonna look down my pants and all that. And he has the moment where he puts Homura in that kind of belly dancer garb. But it's still not the same kind of, I'm in this outfit to be horny, that we saw in Digitalis. And, there it made sense as a commentary on, straight guys who play as girls to be, on online games, because of, as a friend of mine once said, if I have to look at an ass all day, it may as well be a girl's. But I don't think that, I don't think that mindset really tracks to Belial Goer, because that video game element is gone. Also, it's kind of different in VR, because, in case you weren't aware, I'm not a straight guy, but I don't know how many straight guys would be comfortable just, transforming into women at random. So I think there's something up with Wise. So I don't have enough evidence to really try to examine Wise's sexuality or gender identity, but I'm not so sure Wise is a straight guy. He might be bi. That's certainly a possibility. He's certainly attracted to women. That's definite. But I don't know. This is probably not the right place to really bring that up, especially because we're 45 minutes into the video, which I did not expect going into this. I also love... I'm running out of things to say, but there is one thing I want to bring up, and that is that Homura, Homura objects to the kind of very, like, masculine view of sexiness that Wise puts her in, the kind of, like, belly dancer bikini outfit. But, like, you'd be hard-pressed to call her noblewoman gown unattractive, you know? So it's not this kind of, oh, men are thinking about sex and women are never thinking about sex that I feel like shonen manga sometimes kind of dips into, because Homura definitely gives herself as very, attractive to herself vibe, I guess. It's not exactly what the men around her think is attractive, but it's her own kind of sense of attractiveness, I guess. I don't know. It's all very, very kind of vaguely thought out. Again, I've been talking for 45 minutes. And then, yeah, Laguna's here, and we're going to have a fight. So I'm going to finally let y'all go. Hope you all enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to let me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!